Well, Harvey, very nice to meet you. I know we've had some chances to catch up in the past, but I definitely wanted to allow you to share your past experience because I think it's not only um, a breath of fresh air to have somebody with such a diverse background and education in the data world, but also just lends to your expertise and your ability to see through the clutter and make things make sense. So, Harvey from Graphite Note joins us today, and I'll let you introduce yourself. Give us a little bit about your background. He's the first astrophysicist I've ever interviewed, so I'm really excited to see how that plays a role in today's conversation.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Happy to be here. So yeah, like I mentioned, yeah, I'm by vocation astrophysicist, but that was a long time ago, 20 plus years. Very early on, I actually started creating reports for banks in Java. That was my first paid job. I always think about this that I'm using the same part of the brain for multidimensional universes and multidimensional data sets. So I started working with data 20 plus years ago. I was a business intelligence guy leading the teams in different companies, and then I founded my own first startup, first company, basically creating data visualization software, something like small Tableau or small Power BI. That was back in 2010. And then I was blown away with the data science movement in 2015s, doing a few projects for different verticals and different industries there. Fell in love with the concept of AI and machine learning back then. On this new enthusiasm, I founded my current startup, Graphite Note, with an idea to bring machine learning modeling to every business user. So it's a no-code machine learning builder, and that's maybe a very short introduction to myself.
That was great. I'm curious, what's easier to, I guess, understand where banks are sending and receiving money or the chemical makeup of a star?
Yeah, good question. But maybe a political question answer will be depending on the data. If we know the composition of the star, then it's kind of very easy to understand how the star operates. And sometimes, if you don't have data in bank, it's very hard to detect anything. So again, it's everything around the data sets and data. You see, even the answer to your question.
Right, absolutely. It's all data dependent, and we find that day in, day out with every single project we take on, as I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting the backgrounds led you to Graphite now, right? And I'm curious, what specific market challenges did you see that led to solving it with Graphite now?
Yeah, it was probably coincidence of two things. I was a guy doing data science projects, and over and over again, I realized I'm using the same machine learning algorithms for pharma, for retail, or for e-commerce. So for any industry, essentially, deep down is the same algorithm, totally data agnostic. And because I previously created a SaaS product, I started to think, wait a minute, if I create a beautiful front end that will talk to something automated, like some kind of machine learning templates that I can offer to the end user, so they can just click a few buttons to create a machine learning model without coding. If that's possible, that will be like amazing, because the trend of data science and machine learning in 2015, 16, 17, it was incredible. And there was a story about a shortage of data scientists, and Gartner then said, yeah, there's a big shortage of data scientists. So I was kind of marrying my passion, what I know, with what the market needs at that time, and that was probably the idea for Graphite Node as a tool. And maybe just to expand a little, I was kind of a witness for the first data data tooling revolution in my eyes, because 20 years ago I was creating a report for a bank, programming something in Java, and I needed a week for a batch report, creating, boring report. And then after a few years, you have tools like Hrvoje or Click or Power BI. Essentially, within 5 minutes with drag and drop and in drag and drop environment, you can create the same thing. So I wanted to do the same, but for machine learning model, that you can create machine learning model in few minutes instead of months, project that can run for months. And essentially that was the idea.
So in essence, you don't need to be a data scientist to use Graphite Node. That's the no code section.
That's exactly it. Because when you think about it, there's always kind of tension between business user that has to explain their business need to a data engineers and data scientists who don't necessarily understand them, and there is a noise in this channel. If business user themselves, if they have this ability to create hypotheses, to create some modeling, to see the results, it's so much faster for them, and because they are carrying the business questions anyway.
That's great. So in essence, you've taken that part out of the equation, which leaves data, right? As you said earlier, if you have all the data, it can be a relatively easy endeavor to understand it. But if you don't have the right bits or you don't have the right pieces of information, it makes it nearly an impossible task.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, data is, of course, foundation of everything. And there can be good data or bad data. And probably we're going to touch some different topics later, how to detect if the model is basically trained on bad data, because that's possible. And but like you said, no data, no insights. You can just sip a coffee and think about the world philosophically, but you cannot actually pull any insights out.
Doesn't make anything actionable, for sure. No. And we see that a lot in our world, right? Where there's many different data sources. And I wouldn't say any of them are bad, but I think the data source makes a huge impact on the quality of the data, the actionability of the data. For instance, at Vereigen Media, we ensure we only use our first-party data, because we've seen taking in any external data sources can muddy the waters and make the data less actionable, less we can't take away the things that we would want to take away from that. So I'm curious, what's your view on different data sources, first party versus third party? These are all hot topics of conversation in the tech marketing world today.
First party data, I would say it's a must, and it should be a foundation of if we are talking about the data sets in marketing. Why? Because I think that's 100% relevant to a company. Anything else is not 100% relevant. It's almost similar to a question that I had a lot in recent days. If you ask ChatGPT or a similar tool something like, what will be my revenue, predict revenue trends for my company in the next 12 months, you won't get answer, or even worse, you will get some kind of general answer. But ChatGPT didn't see your data, didn't train model on your data, on your first party data. So that's I think that's the essence of this question. First party data should be the basics for any real insights. Third party can be helpful and usually is, but it cannot be the basics. If you don't want a general answer, you need first party data. I would say it like that.
Yes, and understood, and couldn't agree more on that. So
that's good.
Help me understand how you're attacking AI-driven insights, how Graphite Note uses AI-driven insights to make the takeaways actionable, to provide the best value in the market.
Yeah, so I think, I'm researching market all the time. I think we are pretty unique in that angle, and that's a shame, because usually when a data scientist is building a model, They will create a model, they will deploy it, whatever that means, to a business user, and they will say, okay, my model accuracy is 72%. Now we can use it for predictions. This is my area under the curve score, and no one understands them. But it's possible to pull so much more from the trained machine learning model. For example, there is something called feature importances. And let's talk about predictive lead scoring. In marketing, that's one of the most popular use cases for AI or ML. So predictive lead scoring. Traditionally, lead scoring is done very rudimentary. For example, if I have a lead that visited my pricing page, I will give them 10 points. If they clicked 3 times of something, I'll give them 5 points. It's so arbitrary and random. And even if you nailed the scoring manually, it will change next week because everything is dynamic. So alternative is predictive lead scoring, where machine learning will find out the patterns. And what happens, for example, in Graphite Note, what we are showing to business users is which features or columns are the most important driving conversion. So you can have like 50 columns and you don't have a clue what is important. Maybe you have a hunch country is kind of important. If they visited pricing page, that's probably important, but you don't know. With trained machine learning model, we are presenting a kind of opening the black box, showing you that, look, these 5 columns are the key drivers driving conversion based on your data. So not something general, based on your data. For another client, same model, different data, it will be different answer. So you can see stuff like in Germany, propensity to buy is too much bigger than in England. So you will see exactly sentences like this, understanding what drives in terms of your columns in data, what drives in this example conversion based on your data conversion in this company. So that's first layer that we are offering on top of classical machine learning trained model. So this level of insights, we call that key drivers. Then you can explore more, but what we just have in the latest version, it's so hot. It's the promised land of data analytics. It's prescriptive analytics. So based on your data, we are creating strategy document, a narrative, telling you, okay, based on your data and your goal, and you told me in my app that your goal is to increase the conversion, this is what you should do. These are the KPIs or OKRs to follow. These are 5 actionable items to go for, and this is how you go about it. So instead of giving machine learning model insights to business strategists, we are shortcutting even that step, because today LLMs can be great in creating narratives, but the point is in the prompt. You have to fill relevant first-party data insights into the prompt to get something 100% relevant to the company. Sorry for broader answer.
No,
maybe.
that's amazing. And what I'm hearing is, obviously no code AI is a driver there, because there does need to be some type of expertise or human interjection to direct the data and the insights actionably. Right?
Yeah, that's also a very common and good question. I am not a fan of let AI do everything instead of us.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense. For so many, even in our case, I saw sometimes you have a data set with column names that are just random characters from Oracle database, limited to 5 characters per column, for example. No LLM in the world can know what is in which column even to begin with. And then if you're talking about the strategy, even for this lead scoring example, so we want to present strategy to a human, to a person with experience, and that person should make decisions based on the narrative, not just blindly follow it. Because maybe that person was having a coffee with a great lead in machine learning eyes, but that person hunch from the coffee is body language was different. So you cannot train machine learning model on a body language or tone of voice over the phone or stuff like that. You have to have person in at least at the last step when you have to make some kind of decision. So that's the example I can share.
No, it's perfect, and I couldn't agree more. I think AI is here. It's becoming incredibly relevant and prevalent in everything that we do in the business world. We're not there yet to where we can just let it loose and do its thing. Everything's going to require that expertise or that human verification input at the end to make it actionable, right? And we see that the same way. We utilize a lot of intelligence, and we utilize a lot of, I won't call it AI, but advanced algorithms that feed us the data points we know to be relevant. But at the end of the day, we need human eyeballs on a project to make sure that
absolutely, I think
we're pushing it at the right
future,
direction. Yeah.
Even in our future, it has to be that way. Yeah.
I agree. Otherwise, we've all seen Terminator, and we don't want
yes,
it to go. We don't want it to go that way, for sure. So, are there any in that vein? Right, AI is continuously dynamic. It's advancing at a rapid pace. There's constantly breakthroughs coming through. We'll get into it a little bit later, but I think there's a lot of ambiguity between AI, machine learning, algorithms, advanced intelligence. We'll get into that later, but what do you see? What does Graphite Note see on the horizon? What's the next big breakthrough?
Like global big breakthrough, if I want to play a visionary, it's probably some kind of real-time hybrid between what we just talked about. AI as a helper and humans as a decision makers. AI is incredible at detecting patterns, very quick, but AI, I know it's artificial intelligence. It's not intelligence in my view. It's a mathematics and statistics, and it's great, but it's not intelligence. And human existence is so much more even than intelligence. That's what I think. Even as a physicist, different dimensions and stuff like that. So I think kind of hybrid, a real-time approach is where we are going. And I don't like hypes. We have a new hype with AI agents now, but I think the direction is right if AI agents will be defined. So right now, the most people think something chatty with a chatty function is AI, and actually it can solve any business problem, and that's so far from the truth. And but if the AI agent is something autonomous, something that can pull different APIs to check the internet, to check the weather, most importantly from my point of view, to check machine learning model for predictions to be 100% relevant to the company, not just trained on general stuff like ChatGPT, then AI agents are really something that will be next step, very helpful to streamline so many processes. So that's what I see maybe generally happening in the next year or two. And in terms of marketing, probably some kind of intent forecasting will be enabled with these agents. Again, we are actually doing something similar right now. We have our small agent in Graphite Note. From our leads, since we are on marketing topics, from our leads, I want to prioritize them every morning. So I get all the new leads every morning. Our script, our agent gets all the new leads. Then we score them based on our data. What is their propensity to buy? So we have that 100% relevant for it's because it's trained on our data. But then we go to check for these businesses with some, for example, OpenAI web models to check, are there some recent news related to machine learning or no code or AI based or connected to this company? Are they hiring someone? Anything on LinkedIn? And then we have like 360-degree view. What is this company doing related to what I'm offering? And I have my propensity score as well. So I'm marrying the two, and I just push this to Slack channel to my sales guys, and they take over. Something like that on scale for any industry is what I envisage as the next step.
That's exciting. Now you're talking my language, right? So as AI evolves, how do we create the symbionts between expertise, industry knowledge, experience? We have decades of experience that we can't really teach an AI form to learn and utilize. What is the next application in lead generation? You're doing pretty incredible stuff now. What's next?
I think what's next is what we are doing right now, because it's not widespread still.
Right, that's fair. No, that's a fair point.
That's kind of, yeah, I think that's maybe next. Many companies still, they don't realize that LLMs or ChatGPT, Claude, they're not answer to everything, because these LLMs, they are giving general answers. So I think we need to educate them, because it's the truth. They need trained model based on their first party data to have the most accurate insights based on irrelevant to their business. So that will be next. And next will be probably aligned with what I just explained with the AI agents, something pretty autonomous. But then, excuse me, then this agent as the end result, it has to present the findings or the most sensitive or crucial findings to a human to approve or not to approve something, because otherwise errors are going to be here all the time, and some errors are bigger than some other errors. So
right. Or more costly.
Yeah. So I don't think AI is going to replace. I'm not so dramatic. I really think it's going to just enhance what we do, so we can do that smarter, better, faster, and I think that's the answer.
Yeah, and I think scalability plays a role there, right? As we look at first-party data sources, external data sources, I believe that it's such a large problem that people are utilizing third-party data sources in the same fashion that they would their first party, that we're going to come to a point to where we can increase the amount of data we're feeding our AI tools, but more in a unison way, more in a scored equally way, to your point. What people are doing on my website and what people are doing on other websites, even though they're completely different inputs, they are both relevant, they are both valuable. So I think being able to increase the data size that AI is using in its analytical process, I think would be a huge breakthrough in the world, to where, Graphite Note, Vereigen Media, we only have a small sample set of the global behavior, right? But how can we combine with other companies to increase that reach, increase that visibility?
Yeah, more data, better model. That's
absolutely
as simple as that. And sometimes, depending on the business, sometimes it makes sense to expand your own data set with something else. Sometimes it doesn't make sense for business users, but in marketing world probably does. What I see on the projects on the ground is this topic is pretty common. There is a great specific model, maybe to predict propensity to buy or to upsell something, very relevant to a company. But if I'm talking to, for example, CRM vendor, they have hundreds or thousands of these companies. If I'm a CRM vendor, or ERP vendor, I would think about master model based on everyone, where I will have additional column, company size, company industry. So I will have master model that will understand what's happening on the global level and still be very specific to everyone. So that's a nice thought to have.
We just have to get around that pesky data compliance issue, right? As you start to involve all this other data.
Yeah.
Different parts of the world, GDPR, there's more than 20 instances in GDPR because it's country specific in the EU. Even in the United States, we're starting to see things like CCPA play a role. Canada's always had Castle, but we're starting to see it become a larger priority for global businesses. I think, how does AI help in navigating that very complex landscape? Or can it?
Probably can. But yeah, basically you asked two questions: AI and the legislation, compliance. It can be tricky.
Which is also dynamic, right? It changes constantly.
Yeah, it can be also dynamic. But if you train your models on data that's yours and it's nothing personal, and it shouldn't usually be nothing personal, and I explain what I mean, then you are probably okay. And yes, here in Europe, we have some stricter acts right now, and we have to comply with that. But what I mean with my first sentence here is, if I want to, again, predict lead scoring model, I shouldn't include names here or emails, not for modeling. Why? Because if my model is going to tell me, if your name is Dave, your propensity is 3 times bigger than if your name is Harvey, that doesn't make, so that model is bad model. Your name or email domain shouldn't influence something like propensity to buy. So why should I train on it? So models don't care about personal stuff. Sometimes they need maybe customer IDs, but that's completely anonymized and you're good. So
you just need a way to match it back to actionable data, right? You need a unique identifier.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly the point. And how can AI maybe help? Again, if you have a large organization, lots of data sets, AI is incredibly good in detecting patterns. So you can definitely try to use AI instead of just human workforce to find potential problems related to compliance in your data, because it will probably be faster. So again, you can use AI to behave better, to find these patterns for you.
Understood.
And also, kind of on the topic in EU, it's stricter and stricter. And actually, I like that because in Graphite Node, we are opening the black box that is machine learning and AI model, and we are explaining why the model thinks the way it thinks. And this explainability or the right to explanation is essentially built in the EU Act. So it's important, if you are doing AI, try to think along the lines that it would be great if you can explain how you build something and how the model thinks as much as possible, depending on the different models. That's what I wanted to point out as well.
No, that's perfect. I think, and as we come to a close on our conversation, and we can have many more, because I think you and I could both talk about this topic for days. Is there a question that I should have asked? Is there a thought that I should have tied together that I didn't think to, because I am not as experienced as you in the data science world?
Really don't know. Maybe even just to begin with, I like, what is AI? You know why, Dave? Because I was talking to so many startups. I was part of the accelerators, hubs, and like 50%, especially after the hype, 50% of the companies, they say, "Oh, we are doing AI." Probably they're saying that for potential investors.
Yes.
But I asked them, "What do you do?" And what they do is, like, they have SQL query to a database and they're showing a dashboard. I mean, that's like data visualization or business intelligence at best. It's not AI. So maybe just it's almost harder and harder to explain what AI is, because machine learning, for example, is part of AI, and AI
Right.
in general, it's kind of science or technology where machines or computer systems perform tasks that are human-alike. That's very general, but if we dive deeper, the part of AI is machine learning, where you don't have to explicitly say, "This is a dog." No, that's part of the training. You don't have to explicitly say, if on the image you see something hairy with the two pointy ears, with a hair like this, and you're trying to explain what's on the picture with what if and if then else statements, that will be the old way. Now, machine learning way is you just show the picture to the machine. Right. To train it. So that's the big leap. Or you show every row in your lead scoring and propensity, and every row is like showing a dog or a cat. You're showing how success look like, how conversion look like. Every row is like a dog or a cat. So we are teaching machines, but this teaching is again so human-alike. Essentially, we are creating statistical model that is going to fit to multi-dimensional space the best, to best generalize what we showed it. It's basically mathematics and statistics, but we are using our voice, our text, so it's very easy to be confused and to think about AI as something in the computer talking to me, because if something returns back the words, it's almost a proof that it's alive, but it's not. So
it's not.
Philosophical topic.
It's just very smart. It's a very smart computer.
Very smart. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Harvey, I can't thank you enough for the time. I've learned a lot from you, so I appreciate that. Even in our previous conversations, I hope our conversation today provides the same value to whoever watches it. So
definitely.
Can't thank you enough. I hope we get to connect again soon, and I wish you the best of luck in your endeavors. Based on what I know about Graphite Node, I'm sure it'll be a fun ride for you.
It's a fun ride already. Thanks, Dave, and best of luck.
Absolutely.
And chat soon. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.